Great news, guys. We have partnered with the good folks over at moonwalker.com, and Moonwalker is one of our favorite CBD companies that offer a wide variety of products. Those include Delta 8, CBD, HHC, CBN, CBG, and many, many more. Moonwalker has become the industry leader in Delta 8 and CBD products, pushing the boundaries of what is truly possible with hemp. By combining award-winning terpenes and natural flavors in unique custom blends, they explore new dimensions of taste, balance, and euphoria for all cannabinoids. Moonwalker offers tincture, gummies, vape cartridges, disposal vapes, and much, much more. I personally take the full spectrum CBD at 750 milligrams of CBD and have completely left my anxiety prescription in the cabinet. Anyone who listens to our show knows that we are teachers during the day and would not endorse something that would put us or our listeners in jeopardy when it comes to testing. If you are interested in supporting us and this great company, head over to moonwalker.com and use affiliate code MBREWS. That is MOONWLKR.com, and the affiliate code is MBREWS. If you have any questions or concerns about the legality of CBD, Delta 8, or any of Moonwalker's other products, please visit moonwalker.com/pages/legal. Enjoy the ride.
Beginning in February 2007, a family begins to receive haunting messages from a restricted number. Confused, they seek the help of police. But that's where the mystery only begins to deepen. You're listening to the Mysterious Brews podcast, and tonight we bring you the case of Courtney Kuykendall's cell phone stalker.
If there's a fire in your kitchen and when your roof just won't stop leaking, I got your back without you even asking. If I gotta whoop somebody's ass, I'ma do it with passion. And when it gets too dangerous, no, I'm never out of touch. Ain't gotta call 911, you can hit me up. Girl, you know I'm the one whenever you need some. In emergency, or when you just can't sleep.
Welcome to a deep, dark, hot as ass crack, sweaty balls basement.
It is. It's fucking miserable.
Well, Coachy, it's a couple days before the 4th. You got big plans?
I'm going to be grilling out for my dad and my sister.
Good deal, good deal.
Redeemed myself for the ribs.
I smoked a pork butt for my family, and then I smoked a separate one for my mom and dad, and they just loved it. So I think I'm back on the good graces.
I thought you were going to say I smoked a separate one for me.
I've seen the days that I could eat a whole one by myself. So, but we have had some feedback on our patrons. They have stated, because we put out, if you're not a patron, then this does not apply to you, but we did put out, what song would you like to hear when we do our Patreon exclusive? You know, an old Rob West, he come through with 3. I'm not going to say the first one by David Allan Coe, but you can just guess. Then the other one was Turn This Mother Out, Cotton Eye Joe. We had the Jeepers Creepers, Give It Away by Red Hot Chili Peppers. Guerrilla Radio by Rage Against the Machine from our boy Heater. Phenomena. Da, da, na, 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 na.
I got some feedback from a Patreon today.
Oh, yeah?
A former Patreon.
Former?
Yeah, a black belt in jiu-jitsu buddy of mine said that he recently had to stop all Patreons. He had like several. So he was giving out like $60 a month to various podcasts. But he said that you were the only one that reached out to him to figure out what happened. He said he thought that was very classy.
Well, I try to do that for everybody that leaves, and most of the time we don't get a response, of course. But I try to just reach out for some constructive criticism. Hey, you know, I understand times are little, tough on all of us right now with gas prices and food prices and all that stuff. But yeah, anytime we get a patron that bows out, I always try to just ask, hey, was it something we did? Is there something we could do to make it better? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, he was like, man, I appreciate you reaching out. And I was like, I didn't do shit. I didn't even know you left. I said, bro, you don't understand what I do for this podcast. I do the intro. That's it. I might pipe in every once in a while going, oh, man, that's terrible.
Terrible. I'll tell you this is what's amazing. You know how you do cases and you think, man, this one's going to take off and this one's going to do well and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Anyway, with that said, looking back at our episodes, we're averaging about 500 downloads about every 2 weeks per episode. So that's good. Of course.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, there's only 7 billion people in the world, but we love those 500.
Yeah. Just looking back at the 1st of May, of course, the first part of Danny Casolaro has 700. The second part has 600. What's crazy is the one right after that, the most downloads is the disappearance of the El Fausto with almost 600.
Really?
Yeah. And I thought it was.
You just said Danny Casolaro had 700.
I did. I said almost 6. El Fausto has almost 6.
Well, you said that El Fausto was the most downloaded.
I didn't mean to say that.
Which is the most downloaded?
Of all time is our first one.
Really?
Of all time, our first episode on your favorite.
The Yuba County 5. How many has it got?
1,200.
God. So like 600 of those are just like, well, that audio quality sucks. Not listening to them anymore.
I don't think it was that bad on the first one. Now, after about we did away with the Jennings 8 because that audio was horrible.
And it was boring.
And it was.
No offense to those victims, but we should have done better.
It's just so much information, man. It takes, just going through the victimology, it takes forever. We probably should have just done a 2-parter on that one, but that's back when we were greenhorns.
Well, somebody suggested that, and someone shot it down, so I would have to take the hit for that
one. Another one that is up there is Charles Morgan. Everybody likes some Charles Morgan.
Dude, that guy, I don't know. You going to shoot yourself in the back of the head? Yeah, okay.
Well, and I will say this, just in the short time that we published our latest episode, the Publius Enigma, we got 280 on it, so that's enough of the business. We're over here tooting our own horns, but no new patrons to speak of.
However, we've got one hell of a creepy case.
Yes, we do. And this one, if you liked the Watcher case, this one's going to be right up your alley.
It's scurry. But at least nobody dies. Nobody goes missing. So that's, something.
That's always a plus. Always a plus. All right, so what we're talking about, ladies and gentlemen, is the Kuykendall cell phone mystery. And this sordid tale begins in February of 2007 in Fircrest, Washington, and more specifically with a young lady named Courtney Kuykendall. She was a 16-year-old teenage girl who one night received some texts from her friends asking why she had simply texted them the word gay.
Yay?
No, that would be gay.
Oh, gay.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. And so she's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And she kind of was like, I didn't send anything, and brushed it off. And she went on about her evening. Neither Courtney nor her friends could have imagined this would be the start to some strange occurrences.
Very strange, I would say.
It's up there, buddy, because I'll tell you this. I'd be breaking my cell phone, but anyway.
Shit, I'd be moving. I'd be doing whatever.
I'd be running out to the FBI van across the street going, look, y'all got to take care of me.
Like, come on, guys. Be better.
Yeah. Be a lot better. Yeah, I'm not into the intimidation factor. So soon after the evening in question, Courtney and her family, along with the Price family and the McKay family all began receiving threatening text messages and phone calls from an unknown person who they would refer to as restricted due to the word appearing on their caller ID. So as soon as the mysterious caller would begin, they would regularly threaten to kill or rape the recipient of the text or the phone call. They even threatened to attack the schools the person attended and threatened to kill their pets.
Yeah, on one of the videos I was researching with, they actually had a recording of his voice. It was spooky as hell to begin with. He's like, I know where you live. I will kill your children. Don't send them to school. There'll be a shooting.
I never did find the recording, but
That's a horrible impression of him.
I saw a news article that said it was, they likened it to a throaty, what did they say? How'd they put it?
Scratchy?
Throaty pubescent teenage boy.
Oh, well, I got descriptions of Scratchy.
It could go that way, I guess. I didn't hear it, so I'll take your word for it.
I'm just saying what I saw, I read.
I mean, he's not doing himself any favors trying to tell them they're going to attack schools, kill their pets, and threaten to kill and rape the people he's talking to. I mean, he's kind of twisted, I believe.
Yeah, he might have some problems. He needs to work out in therapy.
Yeah, he may be misunderstood. So the messages got to the point of coming through around the clock. What is weird is that the calls would occur on both the cell phones and the landlines of the recipients. And for those of you that don't remember, we used to have these things on the wall called phones. But yeah, they would get phone calls at home on a hard line. So to try and stop restricted harassment, everyone affected by his stalking, I guess is a better way to put it, would switch phones, change their numbers, and even turn their cell phones off. Some would go as far as to get new accounts, but nothing seemed to stop or even slow restricted down. Having finally had enough, Courtney and her family called the police. So while in the middle of explaining what's going on to an officer, all their phones turned on and called each other.
That's spooky, man. Like, yeah, your cell phone starts turning itself on. No, I'm out. And for that reason, I'm out.
Now, keep in mind, this is 2007, and I think this is, when this occurred, this is right before the first iPhone came out. So we've got
Blackberries.
Yep, we got Blackberries. We got the old Nokias with the Snake game on it.
I was so good at Snake. Jesus. It was ridiculous.
So police decided to trace the calls, and unfortunately for Courtney, most of the phone calls and the messages, they traced back to her phone.
Yeah, so everything is coming from her phone. What the fuck?
Well, and the other ones that did not come back to her phone were traced to phones of other innocent people that had no idea their phones were doing this. All the phones in question seemed to be able to send messages and make calls even when they had been powered off. One day after the Kuykendalls had returned from a meeting with police regarding the phone calls, they noticed they had a voicemail. The message was a recording of the exact conversation from earlier that day with police.
Yeah, if it couldn't possibly get any creepier, and then it gets 10 times creepier.
Yeah, tenfold. It just ratcheted itself up. So Courtney's parents believed that she may have something to do with all of this and decided to take her phone away from her. But that also turned out to be a futile attempt at stopping the barrage of harassment. So to make things worse, the Kuykendalls realized that Restricted not only could listen to everything they said, whoever it was also able to see them even when they were inside their home. Freaked out, the family sets up a new security system installed with a new keypad for their home. As soon as the installation technician leaves, Restricted calls and says, "Hey, I know what the new password is, and this is the passcode." he would go, or she would go, as far as to make comments about what kind of clothing and what color of clothing each recipient was wearing. Now, one of the more infamous quotes from Restricted occurred to Andrea McKay. Andrea was at home cutting limes on the counter, and Restricted messaged her simply to say, "I prefer lemons."
Hell to the no, no.
That's right. Nope, I'm out.
I'm moving that night.
Yep. For sale sign will be coming shortly, but my ass is gone. So at this point, everyone involved would tape over their phone's cameras and remove their batteries. But just like before, this did not stop Restricted's access to their daily routines. One night, an unknown person banged on the side of the Kuykendall's house, fleeing into the darkness, never to be identified. Now, the cell phone companies at the time were very skeptical about the whole thing, and a spokesperson for Sprint, Mr. Matt Sullivan, said, quote, "We are unaware of any technology that would allow the activity that's being reported here. We are partnering with law enforcement to investigate. We're not exactly sure what is being done to these phones," end quote. Now, the investigation rocked on for a few months, but police became officially ineffective at stopping the harassment. The Fircrest police chief, John Cheeseman, knew the Kuykendalls and was dumbfounded by the whole thing. He's on record as stating, "We've never seen anything like this." And according to the evidence and sightings, I guess there were sightings. I don't know what the newspaper article said. Courtney's phone definitely was not the only device acting weird. And what makes the case even more strange is the fact that if this was a hack, how was the hacker able to hack so many devices in such a short period of time? This isn't just one phone that was hacked, since one phone camera would really provide full digital access to the house. They were being widely spied on. So the questions are, is it a prank? Is it a cyber attack? Is this an actual case of real life spying? And then you are having to ask yourself, who would do this and why? Why are there death threats? And was the perpetrator actually clinically insane?
I would definitely say it ain't a prank. Even if man, we're going to prank these people. This shit ain't no prank, bro. You're committing crimes. Legit serious felonies here.
That would be called terroristic threats.
I mean, cyber stalking, wiretapping,
cyberbullying.
You got it. I mean,
threatening to kill or attack schools, threatening to kill, rape, murder, harm pets. The list goes on and on.
You can't harm the pets, man.
No, we can't. We can't. Just ask Michael Vick.
Pets are sacred.
Yes, they
I
are.
miss my dogs.
We get to Pierce County Sheriff's Department Detective Ed Trier, and he stated, quote, "At this point, we aren't saying it's someone inside the family, but it's someone that is close enough to them to know this much about them. It seems like it's someone who is tied into the group, a family member, a friend, or an enemy. I hope it isn't coming from within the family because it would be a waste of everyone's time," end quote. And oddly enough, as quickly as this all began, it ended just as quickly. And some sources stated that the FBI became involved, and when that happened, the call stopped immediately.
Yeah, I would stop too.
Yeah.
Saying.
Now, there is very little follow-up on the story after the initial media coverage wave. And a lot of people out there say that it's officially solved, but I never could find where the officially solved came from because there's not a person that they have named. A lot of people point fingers at Courtney, but like I said earlier, she's not.
She receives the brunt of it.
Right.
You think she's going to, and the fact that her phone was detained for investigation and detained by her parents, and this stuff still continued.
Now, the three families involved make it sound like these were three unrelated groups of people, and that's not actually the case. It was
the second family is the Courtney's mother's sister. It's her aunt.
Right. And she's married, living with her husband in a different house. And then there's Courtney's friend who lived across the street. And so at least one other friend of Heather's, which is the aunt, said that her phone's ringtone changed without her involvement to a guttural voice saying, "Answer your phone."
Oh, that's creepy. That is creepy.
So we get into theories on this one, and the prevailing theory is this is a hoax. And like I said earlier, they try to blame it on Courtney, but like Coach said, Courtney, she had her phone taken by authorities, and then when that was returned back to her, her family took it from her and was like, "Look, we're going to get to the bottom of this. If it's you, we'll see if this happens again." And it did, so they knew immediately it was not her.
And, I mean, you're going to hoax this to the point that you go to authorities. You're going to go to authorities claiming this wild claim, knowing that if you're caught, that's, you can't just file false claims. That's a crime.
Right. And if y'all aren't on the old Gram or the TikTok, there's a lot of people that are now videotaping the Karens of the neighborhood being arrested for making false claims.
God, I hate Karens, but I can't stop watching their videos.
No, I can't either. I love them when they lose their shit like a toddler.
It's just, it's like, you really?
Yeah, you're an adult.
This is really this important to you? They got your fries wrong?
It's my damn fence. It's my fence.
God. I'm so glad. Where I'm living is basically a lot of elderly people. And there are just no Karens in this little, it's a townhome. I don't guess you'd call it a neighborhood. But the group of townhomes, there has not been any Karen incidents since I have been a resident here.
Bravo, Coach. Bravo for your research into non-Karen abodes. Now, the reason that some of the people say that it was Courtney is because on the outside, she is a very pretty blonde teenager who got to go on national TV with this crazy story. But her argument, and she always did this in the interviews, was, why would I do that to people I care about? Why would I harass my own family? And her mom even came to her defense and adamantly denied that Courtney was involved. Now, some argue that Restricted was using some kind of hack or virus to control the phones, possibly with inside help from a Confederate. And you may be asking yourself, what is a Confederate? Well, a Confederate, for you noobs out there, is someone who could smuggle the family members' phones out to Restricted for some hands-on fuckery. It could also
That's what I used to do in prison.
Smuggle or fuckery? Or both?
Hands-on fuckery.
You're killing me out there. All right, so it could have been a clueless accomplice. And that would be like someone be like, "Hey, man, can you get your mom's phone? My phone's acting up. Can I see if I heard she's got the same phone?" Da. But another theory is that when Courtney would change her account, her number, her phone, new SIM card, whatever, they said that Restricted was actually infecting her phone, and obtaining her contact list from each time she logged on to her MySpace page. And yes, that
good old MySpace.
That dates this story because half of you don't even know it's still out there.
It's more like a music page now. Like bands use it a lot for whatever reason.
What's funny is you can still get on the Wayback Machine, and if you know somebody's username on MySpace, you can find all their pictures and stuff, and some of it's you're like, dang, dude.
I still remember the last thing I posted to my wall. She said yes.
She said yes.
I can assure you she does not say yes anymore.
No, I'll have to agree with you on that one.
You know what's crazy, though?
Tell me, Coach. Tell me what's crazy.
She's got a boyfriend now. And I was like, man, fuck that guy. I can't believe blah, 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 blah. He's a good dude. I like him. I'd never thought I'd say that, but he's a good man. Treats her right, so I'm glad she's happy.
Look at you being Peter positive over there.
Oh, you know me, man. Just like I explained to you earlier before we hit record, I'm just very positive this week.
Full of rainbows and unicorns, I hear.
Yeah. Yeah, you definitely know that I am just raining sunshine down upon the masses.
Oh, man. All right, so going on, one skeptic online has pointed out that you don't have to be very tech savvy to be a spy, but you could actually look through the fucking window or text someone who is in the next room from your intended victim. So one law enforcement officer suggested that they might have a, quote, tech-savvy teenage boy. Why does it always have to be a tech-savvy teenage boy? Why can't it be like the disgruntled tech-savvy girl?
Yeah, seriously. Courtney could have picked on a girl, and the girl's like, oh, okay, I'll start texting you shit.
Yeah. Mean Girls. Anybody watch that movie?
No, but it's coming live. The musical's coming live to Atlanta fairly soon.
If it ain't at the Fox, I'm just not going to go watch that son of a bitch.
I think it is at the Fox, to be honest with you.
Well, it better be. Or they ain't getting my damn money.
I saw Ron White at the Fox. It was amazing.
I saw Rodney Carrington on my birthday at the Fox, and what's even funnier is there was a guy that I was friends with at the time that I did not know was in the balcony at the same show, and we were talking about the show separately one day and then realized that we were both there. But anyway, so we get back to the could be a teenager that is tech savvy, and sure, a kid who lives in the neighborhood or even across the street could creep on people the old-fashioned way by looking in the window. Mike Elgin wrote a article for Computer World stating that basically in his eyes, and this is his opinion, this is not mine, but I figured that I would include it because he did do a very good job writing the article, that this was all a hoax. And he backs these claims up with, and he has a bullet point list. So the first one he says is unauthorized listening through the phone's microphone. As the security experts are eager to tell the media during publicity-enhancing interviews, it is possible to eavesdrop on conversations through a cell phone microphone, even when the phone appears to be, quote, off. In law enforcement circles, this is called a, quote, roving bug. Though possible, even though the downloading of a Java-based program is not likely, such downloadable script kitty hacks are very rare and would need to be reinstalled with new accounts or new phones, as the Kuykendalls claim they had gotten. Now, Courtney is reportedly, this goes back to the MySpace, and if she visits MySpace with a phone snooping Trojan virus of some kind with each new phone, then she could keep reinfecting her new phones. But it is very unlikely that a stranger with no physical access to the phone could repeatedly and quickly pull this off. The second point he makes is unauthorized watching through a phone's camera. And I think this is a very good, those cameras back then were horrible, and they're not very good now. Well, I take that back. There are a couple of them out there that are spot on.
Well, that's because me and you both got like a iPhone 3 or something. We haven't upgraded in a while.
No, we have not. The thing with the camera, and he points out, is if you take your phone out right now and turn and look at it, the camera is either, if you're holding your phone, the camera's looking down, so they get a picture of whatever you're looking at or your crotch. And it would not be pointed directly at someone unless you are accessing it, like holding it up, taking a selfie, but not really taking a selfie. So that's the whole thing with the camera aspect being able to see inside. And that's where the author kind of moves towards this was a physical person on the outside looking into the homes.
Also, I mean, they did bang on the wall, so they did show that they were at least there once.
Right. Remote turning on and off a phone was his third point. Some phones, including the BlackBerries, the Nokias, and others at the time, will be turned on by setting an alarm. Many phones are really never off unless the battery is removed. But I want to counterpoint his point with, they said they had removed the batteries and it didn't do any good. So, ringtone.
Yeah, so take that, pal.
Yeah, buddy. You and your Computer World author stuff. So the ringtones are changed, and theoretically he states that this can be done with a downloadable Java hack, but again, it's unlikely without physical access to the phone. The fifth point he makes is problem continues with new phones and new accounts. Control over a cell phone can come about only in one of three ways: either installing a software with physical access to the phone, using a downloadable Trojan, or hacking the carrier's website for phones that rely on the internet to store account settings. Or, if some hacker was able to do it, it might explain how they could change the ringtone. And the sixth point is most of the calls and text messages trace back to Courtney's phone. We've already addressed this. He goes on to state that there are four possibilities here. The first one is that Courtney is in on the hoax, which we don't believe personally that she was in on it. And she has stated, why would she do that to her family? Also, Coach has pointed out that her phone was in possession of law enforcement and then in the possession of her family. The second point is that someone is stealing and using her phone without her knowing it. The third is that her phone has been cloned, which is a possibility that I had not thought of. And the fourth is that her number is being spoofed. Someone is calling from another phone, but making it appear as if the calls are coming from Courtney's phone. Those last two are really plausible explanations to how this happened.
The calls are coming from inside the house.
No, not gonna do it. So it's hard to fathom that someone with no physical access to the family or their phones just out of the blue decided to ruthlessly harass these three families around the clock, but then suddenly stopped and just, this was all for shits and giggles and I'm done, I've had my fun. There are, and it has been pointed out, much faster, lower energy ways to be an asshole to somebody. And you don't have to go out and threaten to kill pets, their family members, rape and pillage the community, or blow up the school.
A lot easier ways to be an asshole and not get the FBI involved. I've done that plenty of times.
Yeah, I mean, I've done that 6 or 7 times, but who's counting?
I've been plenty of an asshole to plenty of people, and the FBI does not know.
Correct. Now, we do want to tie this back to if this was someone that was truly holding a grudge over the Kuykendalls, then they are not as an asshole as one might think, because we have discussed the case of the crusade that was set out against a house, not just the occupants, but a house in general, and that was our Watcher case. Now, this does ring back to the Watcher, but like I said, the boy or the guy, the girl, whoever, in this situation, in the Kuykendall's case, they don't have the intestinal fortitude to see the slow play done, because once trouble appears, they're out. FBI's in, I'm out. And if you go back and listen to our Watcher case in the archives, you will know that in that case, he didn't care. That old boy would bring all the cops you want, bring in special investigators, whatever judicial people, whatever you want to do. He was not going to stop.
No, it's all about commitment.
That's right.
To your craft.
And it sounds like either this was a teenager that had cloned the phone or kind of, spoofed the number. And then once they got wind that the FBI was involved, they're like, deuces, I'm out of here. And it ended. I mean,
you can't blame them. If that's the case, you can't blame them. Just get the hell out of Dodge.
Or better yet, was it like the X-Files or Criminal Minds? Did they find themselves a grade A hacker and tell them to just stop? And if they stopped, they would give them a job at the FBI in Quantico?
Yeah, I saw a thing on the Netflix about like crimes over the web, and like this guy robbed millions of dollars from the IRS. And sure enough, when they caught him, he got a job. He did a little time, but after that, he's working in the government trying to prevent the same type of shit that he was doing.
That's usually the case. If you're real good at your craft and you embezzle and you thwart things on a government level, then they're usually quick to be like, look, you're going to do some time, but we're going to make you an offer you can't refuse. and you're going to have a job coming out that you work for the government, and you're going to make some good money, and you get to do what you enjoy doing, but legally.
I would say, sign me up.
Sign me up, brother. Sign me up. Well, Coach, you got any theories of your own?
I honestly think that it was a high school kid that was doing it. Real tech smart. But what I don't know is why. What could be the reason to do something like that? Why Courtney? There has to be more to it.
I had thought about that when they said tech savvy boy or girl, whatever, but I was on the impression that maybe Courtney was the brunt of the harassment, and this wasn't a tech savvy adult, that one of the adult family members had jaded, either an affair or somebody that you pissed off at work, or you got a promotion and the other person didn't, kind of situation. What's that movie, Changing Lanes, where the guy, you just cut that poor son of a bitch off and then he harasses you for the rest of your life?
We had Ben Affleck and Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah. I mean, it could have been as simple as that, but it does lead you to believe that there had to be a physical presence to see, because like the guy in that article pointed out, there's easier ways to see what they're wearing, what color clothes they have on, and if they're cutting limes or lemons, than trying to decipher a 2007 BlackBerry or Nokia's cell phone camera. Is that really a lime? Is the dress blue or is it gold? That's my 2 cents.
I just don't see this being random, though.
No. I don't either. I don't think somebody just flipped over and dialed this number and thought, hey, I'm going to torment this little girl's life.
Yeah, I definitely don't see it being random. If she was targeted by someone, and my hope is that it was just a prank that went too far rather than a serious, Exactly. That's exactly what I was trying to say.
So with that said, ladies and gentlemen, let us know what you think. And maybe it was an ex-boyfriend and he's like sitting back thinking,
surprise, motherfucker.
Man, I'm glad you're getting that soundboard up and running.
Oh, I gotta do a better job of getting it laid out, because I just don't have it laid out correctly right now. But anyway, all right. So recommendation time, and I know I spring this on you at inopportune times, but I'm gonna go first just because I got to get this one. Up until a couple of days ago, I had yet to find a TV show that I was as enthralled with as Justified. But ladies and gentlemen, I have found it, and it is on FX. And it is called The Old Man with Jeff Bridges.
Oh, yeah. I've been meaning to watch that.
Dude, it is so well written. And it is a serious mindfuck on every episode.
Really?
Yeah. Now, there's only 4 episodes out right now. The fourth one just dropped yesterday. And so I've been...
Turn on the old Hulu.
But it is... very, very well written. It's got a great storyline. There's not too many subplots that you get all like, would y'all just leave this shit alone and get back to it? But it's very, very good. I highly, highly recommend it.
That's nice. I'm going to have to check that out. That's one of the first recommendations you've ever recommended that I'm like, I'm going to have to check that out.
One of the first? God, looky here. Almost 3 years. And
Dang. Yeah, it's been 3 years, huh?
Coming when I get back from Athens, it'll be 3 years, Coachy.
Look, like every time I watch YouTube about mysteries and stuff, I'm like, oh man, we have done that. Like a good example was Henry McCabe. I was like, God, we need to. Oh wait, dumbass, you've done it.
I'll be flipping through Instagram or TikTok, and somebody will be doing like a green screen, and you should check this out. There's an unsolved mysteries about Brandon Swanson. I'm like, motherfucker, I done did that.
Yeah, Brandon Lawson did it. I'm going to recommend a TV show on Amazon Prime. If you ain't watched The Boys yet.
It is a good show, man. Dude. It is a very good show.
So imagine Superman as if he was a dick. There's a group of boys that are determined to kill him. Very raunchy, very R-rated, and it's amazing.
It is a very good show.
There's 3 seasons. They're in the middle of the 3rd one right now, but freaking Amazon's releasing on 1 episode a week. I'm like, bro, no.
No. Yeah. Don't do that to me.
Netflix has spoiled us.
Yes, they have. Yes, they have. That's why I've tried to slow myself on the old man. And I'll tell you this, for those of you that are out there, I don't know if any, I recommended The Outer Range a couple of months ago, and I just told you I couldn't get into it. It's not one of those. Now, the first episode is slow, but by the end of the episode, you're left with more questions, and you're like, what the hell did I just watch? It's not an M. Night Shyamalan mindfuck, but it's close. M.
Night Shyamalan, he made one of the best superhero movies ever made. Have you seen Unbreakable?
Yes.
Oh, man. That is so good.
It is good.
And people, I don't hear it in the conversation a lot about superhero movies, but it should be. It's fucking amazing. Yep. I said it.
Yep, he said it. Write it down, put it in stone. Coach said it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're trying to coordinate some road trips here within the next week or two, and we might be throwing our faces around some highfalutin areas if I can sweet talk the warden in.
We got to go to that Bigfoot thing in Pigeon Forge, man.
Well, Coach, you got anything else?
I don't.
Have a safe and happy 4th of July. For those of you out there, when you hear this, it will be after the 4th, but...
yeah, have a safe 4th. You'll get this on the 5th.
Deuces.